Now let's turn to the University of Virginia. The University of Virginia's student newspaper, the Cavalier Daily. This is the student newspaper. This isn't some equity club or... The University of Virginia student newspaper, the Cavalier Daily, recently published an editorial piece that said they don't condone former Vice President Mike Pence speaking on campus and argued against what they deem unjustifiable speech. And you tell me that the Academy's not failed. We refuse to condone platforming Pence, they wrote, arguing that the former vice president's beliefs threaten the well-being and safety of students.
We don't know that.
The editorial board said the university's silence was deafening and shouldn't be mistaken for neutrality. Several senior legal affairs reporter for Politico, Josh Gerstein, using a hashtag to say student newspapers force censorship. The piece was first noted by Atlantic staff writer Connor Friedersdorf, who said Pence has spoken at several colleges and said there was zero evidence of students being endangered as a result.
No.
A Republican pollster, Patrick Ruffini, said it was idiotic and illiberal. Mary Catherine Ham, a CNN contributor and senior writer at The Federalist, also took aim at the editorial board's claim of violence. We're getting a ray of hope here. People from all political stripes are finding this obscene.
Well, that's
just obscene. It does not threaten any lives, she wrote on Twitter. Others took issue with the editorial board's argument against what they describe as unjustifiable speech. Nobody should listen to Mike Pence, but nobody should stop him from speaking, Nicholas Sarwark, an executive director of the Libertarian Policy Institute, said. Pence is expected to speak at the university in April as part of a lecture series sponsored by Young America's Foundation. A student at the University of Virginia recently wrote an opinion essay for the New York Times that she, who describes herself as a liberal, feels scared to speak her mind on campus. And that's from a kid leaning left. My college experience has been defined by strict ideological conformity. Students of all political persuasions hold back in class discussions, in friendly conversations, on social media from saying what we really think, she wrote. Mother of God. The student newspaper ran another and these are your future journalists, which is why the public doesn't trust it anymore.
Right.
The student newspaper ran another op-ed Wednesday headline, "The Payoff of Rhetorical Platforms and the Cost of Their Denial," which appeared to counter the editorial board's piece. I am writing in support of him speaking at the university and to dispute the claim that allowing Mike Pence to speak is antithetical to the university's mission. The university seeks to develop citizen leaders and to preserve democracy. Not allowing Mike Pence to speak is a departure from these tenets, the op-ed from student Sarita Mehta said. Mehta wrote that by shunning those with different opinions, people do not deserve the engagement over differences that is essential to a democratic society. Well, that's fantastic. It's just a shame that the initial piece came from the student newspaper.
But we know, at least I've spoken to a number of college kids that they follow in lockstep with the line of thinking, even though that's not truly what they believe, just because they don't want to be labeled and judged.
The student newspaper's editorial board piece also references the white nationalist rally that occurred in August 2017 at the University of Virginia and said that Pence's presence on ground signifies a tolerance of rhetoric that has already harmed our community. Though Pence's language may not be as overt as the white supremacy expressed during the events of August 11 and 12, we must all be concerned about the message his rhetoric could imply. We accept, the editorial board wrote. I don't know what that's referring to.
That's a large leap to make, isn't it? White supremacy to Mike Pence talking.
Yep.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm trying to look to history to find guidance here, and so immediately I jumped to Agnew and Nixon. You guys were in college, late 60s?
Yep.
I'm not trying to slam you here. Do you suppose
late 70s for me?
Okay, well, let's just talk to Joe then. Do you suppose this would have happened with Agnew? After Nixon got if I remember right, Agnew got the boot, Nixon was reelected?
Right, Agnew got the boot.
Or could we even say that for Ford? If Ford were to speak somewhere, would this happen to Ford?
I I'm going to say no. In my day, I would say no.
I'm not finding anything.
Kenny, I don't even think you have to go back that far.
Where do we turn?
Well, look at when Reagan was in office. Would this have happened then? With Bush speaking at a college campus? I don't think it would have. Do you guys think?
Bush was he was fairly hated for his time spent in the CIA, if I remember right. But not to this degree.
I don't think to this. Yeah, this never would have happened until now.
Right.
The last 5 years.
Yeah, I think this is setting precedent. I don't think precedent has been set before.
Yeah.
I mean, Agnew made a number of really controversial speeches, but I don't see any protests before he showed up.
Because here's why I guess I bring it up. Because I remember I was at Mankato when W got elected.
Okay.
And but it was also the same time when Jesse got elected, and we all went in flocks to go vote for Jesse.
Great question. That would have been Quayle then, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And I
Did you
don't
see
remember
this
outrage
happening
on
for
campus.
Dan?
No.
No. And could I compare the two as being both innocuous, Quayle and Pence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was shortly after.
This all stems from the fact that he was Trump's vice president.
Correct.
Exactly. That's the point
Yeah.
we're making.
Yeah.
But I think it also has a lot to do with just the fact that he's a conservative.
Oh, absolutely. You could probably, I think you're right, throw any conservative in there and you're going to get this. You know, if you're conservative, you are a white supremacist.
Well, bleep these kids.
Absolutely.
They're the products of an extraordinarily, given the significant passage of time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you want to hear that again?
No.
Okay.
They're the products of a significantly destroyed campus environment. But we read some quotes from kids who were trying to hang on, and they're not thoroughly destroyed. But the overall environment is one of this utter destruction of the idea of free speech. It's just horrible.
No, you can have free speech as long as you think like we do.
Do you recall the other day we had the incident from Yale where a conservative speaker was
Yes.
in the law school and was defamed by the kids? Then I read a follow-up piece where there are people sincerely believing that just as the academy has failed, law will be failed, which would have a great impact on the bringing about of the mystery.
I couldn't stop thinking about that after we did that story.
But it's already happening, Joe. You're already seeing the law not being honored.
And what I was thinking, Joe, is all those lawyers, how many lawyers end up as politicians?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
How Kamala Harris got a law degree is beyond my comprehension. Because she's just old enough to probably have gone to law school what it was expected that she would have had to achieve.
Well, she imagined it.
Yeah. Because she's just a moron.